replay value is now a vital component of many video game releases, especially if you're spending £60 or £70, and they frequently leaned upon mechanic to achieve such a feat as the planting of a smattering of collectible items in and around its world to give players a reason to stick around outside of a game's main campaign. Though the point of most high-budget games isn't to run around exploring every nook and cranny, and some are simply not enticed by the hunt, there are examples of games that make collecting its secrets such an enjoyable task or an essential component of the experience that it's hard to resist the mighty task. I'm Si for WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 addictive video game collectibles you had to 100%. Number 10, The Masks, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Each passing entry in the esteemed Legend of Zelda series is always accompanied by a collect-them-all metagame, from Link's Awakening's sneakily placed seashells to the plentiful Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild. There are staples of the franchise like heart container pieces and dungeon items that make up a substantial chunk of exploration, but every iteration of Link's heroic quest has something new to scoop up. Though most are a welcome distraction, none are as intriguing as the masks found in and around Termina in 2000's Majora's Mask, the twisted sister of Ocarina of Time. All of the 24 masks included are not only hugely different in design, but each offers a new addition to gameplay, be it a slight advantage or a downright game-breaking one. Fitting quirky headgear to run faster or become invisible to enemies is a rather unorthodox approach, but in a game that's as unorthodox as they come, it's all rather in keeping with the tone. Only a few masks are essential for the story, and most of which require little exploration to be obtained, so those remaining are merely there to enhance the experience, as well as elevate Link's dashing good looks to new heights. Number 9, Cassette Tapes, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Hideo Kojima's military-focused masterpiece has never been one to shy away from obscurity. Across the series' 34-year history, there has been a vast collection of confusing moments, and in comparison to the series' beginnings, 2015's The Phantom Pain is relatively unspectacular. It has its moments for sure, and when they arrive they're a sight to behold, but the only thing that would make them better would be to experience them while Kim Wilde's Kids in America or The Cure's Friday I'm in Love is blaring from the speakers. Cassette tapes littered across the open world and ripe for the picking allow for such instances to occur. Offering anything from late 20th century pop music to crucial mission intel, cassette tapes are yet another instance of Kojima's abstract approach to game design, and as Metal Gear Solid 5 takes place in the mid-1980s, it doesn't feel completely out of left field. Aside from the possibility of a cassette tape giving intriguing information about the game world and its characters, the music available to collect is so enjoyable simply because there's every chance you'll recognise and thoroughly enjoy whatever tune that it holds. MGS5 is inadvertently the best virtual record store tour ever, and just so happens to include one of the all-time great third-person shooters. Number 8, Bobbleheads, Fallout 3. The capital wasteland of Fallout 3 was all that was left of the east coast of the USA following the Great War in 2077, and though the coastal cities of our colonial cousins have seen better days, it was a fantastic playground for 2008's Fallout 3 to inherit. Exploring the scorched land that once held the United States political hub is a delight, and while weapons, health items and scores of ammunition are crammed into every inch of what was Washington DC and its surrounding cities, the most exciting prize to pick up are the Bobbleheads. Bobbleheads are undoubtedly a neat addition to your abode in the wasteland, and though they do look pretty on display, they're also used to permanently increase your special stats. Not unlike the infusions in Bioshock Infinite, stumbling across Bobbleheads gives the player the opportunity to feel stronger in a world that is nothing but hostile. Everyone is an opportunity to level the playing field, and with a rise in stats comes a rise in confidence that you're becoming more and more equipped to deal with what lies ahead, be it triumphing over tough combat encounters or talking your way out of a tense situation. Number 7, Barn Finds, Forza Horizon. 2012's Forza Horizon was a significant shake-up for the seasoned racing franchise, as the racetrack is abandoned in favour of an open-world driving experience. Carving through the Colorado scenery instead of setting the pace at the likes of Laguna Seca or the fearsome Nürburgring is such a welcome change, and as you get familiar with the Rocky Mountains, the potential for interesting new collectibles can be explored. The now Xbox-owned Playground Games crushed it with their approach to discovering new and exciting trinkets to be acquired, as there's 9 locations on the map where run-down yet desirable cars can be found, restored and added to the player's garage. Unless heavily modified, 9 will be speed machines, but all are interesting pieces of automotive history, which is a welcome change from the adrenaline-fueled antics of burnout or Need for Speed. Each and every barn find is a love letter to petrol heads everywhere. Forza Horizon is a spectacular driving game for anyone even remotely interested in the genre, but through these collectibles it never isolates true racing fans, quite the opposite. Number 6, Artifacts, Astro's Playroom. As the PS5 and Xbox Series X ushered in the 9th generation of home consoles, gamers were itching to get their hands on Sony and Microsoft's offerings, with many left disappointed as stocks dried up quick. For those fortunate enough to scoop up a PlayStation on launch, a stellar title that best highlights the power of the machine they're had just bought was included in the box. Sony's own Japan studio developed and released Astro's Playroom that lined up with the release of the system, and while it excellently makes use of all the DualSense quirks, the collectibles it had littered across its levels were perhaps the most pleasant surprise. The artifacts on offer, from PSP Universal Media Discs to the more scarcely known Pocket Station, are a love letter to long-time fans of the company and a wonderful reminder of its storied past. There was a time when Sony wasn't the top of the home console food chain, and Nintendo and even Xbox were casting big shadows over them, and Astro's Playroom's willingness to highlight the history of the Japanese outfit for better and worse, successful and not, through the game's collectibles is an essential component of its critical success. Number 5. Riddler Trophies, Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman's long night in Amadeus Arkham's brainchild is laced with tense encounters featuring iconic villains and frantic battles with crazed inmates, and as such was the first truly great outing for the Caped Crusader on home console. Joker hatches his most cunning plan to date, which goes off without a hitch, and Sera's recurring castmates are up to their old tricks, which makes Batman a rank outsider to re-establish order. If you manage to be as efficient as the Batman can be, the main story can be completed in a mere 10 hours, but that's only half the fun. Riddler isn't seen in the events of Arkham Asylum, but his footprint is planted firmly on the game's hub world, 240 of them to be exact, in the form of luminous green trophies littered across the asylum grounds. Each riddle solved feels like a small but significant victory over old Eddie Nigma, and as he mercilessly mocks Batman throughout, it only adds to the desire to assert your intellectual dominance over him. While the collectibles are surely just a way to add precious replay value, the Riddler trophies always feel like a personal triumph. Number 4. Backpacks, Spider-Man. Though Insomniac's take on the web-slinging superhero tells a fantastic tale that's thoroughly entertaining throughout, many of the joys that the 2018 release brings are simply through movement alone, as web-swinging through the streets of the Big Apple never ceases to amaze. Swooping through the streets of New York City and dive-bombing into danger at every corner is the cornerstone of the game's wow factor, so discovering that there are a heap of interesting collectibles nestled within the city only serves to widen the grin on your face. Dotted around the landscape are Peter's old backpacks that he hastily abandoned to continue his Spidey escapades, each offering insight into who the character is and was, be it Peter's old camera or a baseball cap from time spent as a pizza delivery guy. The trinkets that you collect are a wonderful way that the game establishes a world that feels like it's been lived in by its characters far before the events of the game unfold. So while the inclusion of these collectibles are a perfect reason to utilise the phenomenal traversal tools, they're also vital in making New York, and Spider-Man himself, believable beings. Number 3. Audio Diaries, BioShock. While its spiritual predecessor, System Shock 2, is seen as one of the pioneers of environmental storytelling, it was 2007's BioShock that arguably perfected it. A tense trudge through a doomed underwater city, picking up story beats as you go, BioShock's core narrative, with the exception of a few cutscenes, is told entirely through interacting with the world around you, which makes the collectible audio diaries essential if you want to truly uncover the secrets that lie within Rapture's walls. Be them hidden in plain sight or in places that require a little more digging, they all serve to flesh out the city and garner a greater understanding of who its major players are. We rarely see some of the game's superb cast of characters, so becoming more familiar with their audio diary portrait is important if you want to be fully engrossed in the grossness of Rapture's crumbling architecture. Audio diaries in BioShock offer collectibles that are more than a mere side activity. Each is a new opportunity to get more out of its twisted tale, and as BioShock does nothing if not tickle your curiosities, you'll want nothing more than to scoop them up. Number 2. Headbands, Ghost of Tsushima. A sprawling open world of Tsushima Island draped in a vibrant colour palette and offering jaw-dropping visuals that'll make the most pretentious of art critics offer their praise. Presentation of Sucker Punch's lone PS4 title makes exploration a treat at every turn. Incentive to uncover the map is achieved through its visuals alone, but stumbling across trinkets and seeing the collection grow in the game's menu only elevates the desire to see more of what the world has to offer. Headbands are as synonymous with feudal Japan as katana swords and bonsai trees, so it was a no-brainer to have them feature heavily in Ghost of Tsushima. Plenty can be scooped up in the open world, but many are gained by accessing tranquil settings to compose haiku, a traditional form of Japanese poetry that consists of a certain number of syllables on each line. Jin, dedicating some time to compose haiku, reminds us of his humanity and honour in between slashing through Mongols, and despite Headwear Collected being purely cosmetic and only really serving to make protagonist Jin look even more badass, the journey to acquire them makes them some of the most memorable collectibles on the PlayStation 4. And number 1, Moons, Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey is the embodiment of fun, and much like its high-budget predecessors, reminds us of the fundamental reasons we all play video games, because they make us smile. Not unlike its ancestor, Super Mario 64, Mario and Cappy's adventure on Nintendo Nintendo Switch is, above all else, a treasure hunt, offering cosmic collectibles that serve as the game's primary source of progression. Where Odyssey differs is its choice of trinkets, as moons are the prize this time around. Hundreds of moons are tucked in each level of Super Mario Odyssey, and when one is acquired, the game jots down the time and date it was uncovered. Not only is this a wonderful way to remind you of just how long you've wasted your time in pursuit of these items, but it feels like a self-creating scrapbook of memories that you can reminisce about in years to come. Only 124 are needed to see the story through, but the fun truly begins when the credits roll, as the Mushroom Kingdom is unlocked and the remaining moons are ripe for the picking. Moons are the primary reason to see Super Mario Odyssey through to its true end, and as such are a wonderful way to showcase the magic that one half of the game's best plumbing duo continues to create. All of these collectibles are a joy to find, but some games are a lot more difficult. On screen now is 10 video games with the most collectibles. Good luck with that. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on the collectibles that you've enjoyed getting over the years. You can head over to WhatCulture.com for more content every day. I've been Sai for WhatCulture, and have a good week.